Hi. Sorry for anyone who was on here already. And I hope my guest comes back because she was cooking. Um, see if I can add her. Oh my God. Okay. Hi. Sorry, y'all. I don't know what is going on with my IG. Maybe I changed the settings or something. So, because the same thing happened to me last week. It cut off at exactly an hour. I guess I'm talking too long. Well, I tried to invite my guests back. Hopefully, for those of you who were already, I know, I'm not sure what's going on. That actually happened to me last time too. So I don't know if there's like a limit on the time I can be live because it was just at an hour. And the same thing happened to me before. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It happens. It
You
happens.
know what? I don't know. I have to check my settings, but when I was on last week, because typically I try to keep it around an hour, but when the
What's
conversation gets good, we just keep going until the people tire. But in any case, yeah, like just at an hour it cut off. So
it
I
sure
don't.
did.
I have to check my I have to check my settings to see if I did something to change it, and that's why it's cutting off like that. But anyway, you were talking about pins and hose.
And, and at 10 years old, my mother told me, uh, don't don't be giving a man a blowjob in the back of a yellow cab for $10, and then give somebody $7.50 of that.
Wait, hold on. Did you know what that was?
I had no clue. Not a clue. No clue. None whatsoever.
So did you ask her or did you go
I I
find out?
I did. And my mother is the type of woman who, if she's gonna say something, she's gonna be open to the conversation, right?
That's pretty open. Yeah.
Somewhere around 13, she gave me a book called Making Love, and it had illustrations. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that
Okay.
sounds familiar.
Um,
I don't honestly, and I think my mom is on here. So mom, I don't think I remember him talking to her about my period, but I don't exactly remember having like the birds and the bees conversation because I know it's an awkward conversation.
oh no. My mother has gone so far as to, when the internet first came out,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
To have the discussion about STDs, she showed me pictures.
That
I was
that's
scarred.
gonna do it.
I was not okay that day. I was like, no, I'm not okay.
That
Right?
that's funny.
Um, and I say all of that to say, when we talk about having those open conversations
Yep.
with children, right? She was very much prepared for my
Yep.
questions. She was very much prepared to have those answers, because I
Mm-hmm.
also had a niece when I was 11. My sister was 19. So my mother had to have those conversations early on of exactly what this life looks like.
Yeah.
Um,
Wait,
and
hold
a
on,
lot of people
mom. It's okay. She's in the comments apologizing, so
love
it's
her.
good. I think
I
I
love
figured.
her.
I think I figured it out.
I think you got the hang of it by now.
Maybe a little bit, little bit.
Um, and we were talking about, how do you tell children? You literally tell children in a way that they can conceptualize and they can understand.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a lot. You have your friends at school,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you also have your other friends that you like to play with, that you go to church with, or that you play on the baseball team with,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Kids can conceptualize that.
Right. Uh,
So they can conceptualize it with an adult.
true.
It just looks different.
I got you. So for those of you who are just joining and weren't necessarily on in the first iteration, I don't know what happened with my connection, but it cut off. And um, so we were talking about polyamory and not, pros and cons. Although my lovely guest, Miss Nicosia Davis, has shared both. She's in the lifestyle, but also a licensed clinical social worker. So she's can offer sort of professional perspective on it, as well as her own personal experience, which she has been doing. So for those of you who had no idea what was happening on here, you just heard blowjob and you were like, what?
Wait, what?
You were like, oh my.
What did I just get on to?
Right. Well, also I didn't put before I had put the title, but I was just trying to hurry up and get back online before people were like, I'm not coming back. So
Right.
yeah. So anyway. Um but with all that said, is there anything that you would like to share about the poly life from both wearing both hats with the people before we sign off? And I don't know if anyone else has anything they'd like to add that actually lives in the life, because like I said, I'm not a relationship expert. I do like to talk about relationship topics because people always seem interested in those kind of topics. Um, but not sort of from a judgment perspective, just hearing different points of view, because we live in a world with lots of different people who grow up different ways and have different experiences, and I think it's interesting, to learn about people and what they're into and why and
Mhm.
so on. So like I said, with that said, is there anything that you'd like to share with the folks before we wrap up here?
I would say if it's something that has been crossing your mind, sit and talk to other people in the lifestyle. Pick up a book. There are plenty of good books that will talk about poly and that will talk about ethical non-monogamy and what that looks like, right? What that looks like in real time, because they are written by people that are living it from their lived experiences, and on some sides, like me, their professional experience. Um, and if that is where your mind is to explore within your relationship, YouTube videos as well, because there are some great poly based podcasts out there. Um, there are some great videos out there that talk about it once again from professional and personal perspectives, and to understand, hey, where is this coming from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, because am I doing it because I don't really because I'm not being fulfilled, or are we just trying to spice up our marriage? Because that's a whole different conversation that I would have with you as a couple in couples counseling.
Right. Right.
Um, that doesn't involve inviting another person and their emotions into your space, right? Um, and it's okay to go, okay, we tried dating, we tried opening up our marriage or opening up our relationships, and we didn't like it. So, we're just gonna close this thing back up, and it's just gonna be us two.
I So there, there were two things that I wanted to say. Uh, Brent, my friend Brent asked a question in the comment. What type of freedom do you feel you have living the poly life? And then there was something else I wanted to ask you as well that I can't remember. It's gonna come
Um,
back.
it's a different level of freedom, because yes, I'm accountable to my partners, but I never feel like I can't be fully myself with any of them. Like, all of them are gonna get the version of me that I am. I don't feel like I can't be emotional, or I have to temper my emotions. I don't feel like they're not gonna accept that I'm a black girl that camps. I'm a black girl that one of my hobbies is called hashing. I hike and drink in the woods for fun,
Okay,
right?
I was just gonna ask you what that was, but okay,
I,
you explained
I
it. So
I run through the woods with friends while we have alcoholic beverages, literally.
okay,
Um,
you
I'm
sound like
a
a good
dancer.
time. I'm just say that.
Um, I'm a burlesque performer.
Okay.
I'm all of these things. And being in a poly relationship, I don't in the poly dynamic, poly life, I don't feel like I ever have to shut any of those parts down just to satisfy any of my partners.
So nobody can come to you and be like, "Well, I don't like this," and you can't. I don't want you doing it. No. Have you ever had a situation like that where somebody okay, and then did you just get rid of his
No,
ass?
I was like, I respect that. I said, so I will never invite you to a performance. I don't want ever see he's like, I don't want to see you shaking your tassels. They were literal tassels. And I was like, cool. I won't have to invite you to a performance because he'll be there.
Right.
And he was like, okay, bet. You're so that meant I got the support that I needed,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Without forcing him to be in an uncomfortable space.
Got you. Right, which is going back to see that was a great full circle moment, bringing it back to the original conversation. So for those of you who missed the opening of the last live, I was discussing how I came to decide on this topic for tonight, and someone had shared a reel with me. I don't see him on here now. He was on earlier about polyamory, but it wasn't polyamory in the. It is polyamory, but not in the way that people typically um, sort of conceive of it. It's not just about having sex with a bunch of different people. It's about having close connection with a lot of different people and not putting expectations on all these different people because no one person can be everything to you, and vice versa. So accepting from them what they can offer and being content with that, as opposed to forcing expectations on people, your expectations of them, and them not meeting them, and then you feeling frustrated and unhappy. So that was, in fact, it's in my story for anyone who follows me, so you can, watch it.
I'll go back and watch
Um,
it so I know exactly what reel you were talking about.
yeah, when it's
Uh,
it's the one that's right after the flyer I posted for tonight's show. So, um,
cool. Rome asks, do poly folks have poly functions? I go to something called Halloween in Atlanta with my friends out of that poly black group off of Facebook every year.
you gotta send him the deets. um, I cannot remember what the other thing I wanted to ask you was, but she
Uh,
really shared a lot. So
Legend asks, how do you exit someone out of the poly tribe? Uh,
that's
so this
a great
relationship,
question.
so you treat it just like you would treat any other breakup, literally.
What if you have somebody who's like on their Jennifer Hudson, and I'm telling you I ain't going.
Once again, when you start turning into a stalker,
Right.
once I say I'm done, I don't care what you choose to do with your life. However, your name and number is blocked. Godspeed and good luck and best wishes.
So you've
Now, if you
never had a situation where anybody got out of pocket, not just like
here's the thing. I tell anybody, do not let the nails. Typically, I do wear makeup. I love a good red lip. We got to talk about that red lipstick that you got on because I need it in my collection.
okay.
Okay. Do not let the red nails and the cute lipstick and the 4-inch pumps fool you. I'm a Southern girl at the end of the day. Play play safe with God because I am not safe.
Well, all right now. You heard it here first. Oh my
Like
goodness. So,
I
um,
recognize that. Have you ever had a crazy partner? I have. And I put the pistol that he gave me for Valentine's Day on the table and reminded him, you made me a great marksman.
okay. Listen, let them know. I, I just listen. I feel like I love when you can just be open with people, when you can just be honest with people. And um the irony is I'm an Aries. My birthday is Saturday.
Oh,
And so
happy birthday.
thank you. We're known to be aggressive and blunt and tell it like it is, and so on and so on. Um I will say typically it depends on the circumstance for me. Like I can for sure turn up. I can for sure get like aggressive and spicy. I can do all those things. And
Mm-hmm.
as much as I can be that way, I also don't really like confrontation.
I don't. I don't at all.
So I would prefer, right? I want to like we can handle this like, some
Open
gentlemen,
door.
or we can get into some gangster shit.
The
Gentlemen and
decisions are
ladies.
yours. Decisions are
Right. Have it
yours.
your way. But I prefer like to just try to tell somebody in a nice way, like,
This
nah.
is no longer working.
Well,
Like Legend asked, how do you break up with somebody? The same way you would break up with somebody that you're in a monogamous relationship, you do it in the same poly way. Hey, this relationship is no longer providing me what I need it to be.
yes. Exactly. It should be that simple, but some people don't like to take no for an answer. And it's not until you turn into like you have to turn into the Incredible Hulk for them
Correct.
to get the point. Why
Correct.
I tried to be nice, but I tried to let you know in a nice way, but you can't take a hint. So, now I got to turn up on you. But
Do you want
anywho.
me to be your villain or do you want me to be your dream? Decisions
Oh, I like
can be
that.
made.
I like that. I like that. I'm gonna have to borrow that one as well. So, oh, speaking of which, so typically I post the full lives on my YouTube channel. So that's Becky Brown Girl. For those of you who aren't here, go like and subscribe to my channel.
I like
So
it.
it'll be on there after we wrap up here. But I will debrief with you when it's over anyway. So, um, I so appreciate you.
You
Thank you,
are so
Rome.
welcome.
Thank you,
You can always
lovely.
bring me back in October to talk about domestic violence, since that is what I do specialize in.
Oh, I would love to. I that is not a topic that I've discussed, so for sure, I would love to do that. I'm gonna make a note for myself. Um,
Rome
after
talking about I want my cut.
before Polyween. That's what it's called, right?
At any point in time in October.
Okay, cool. Um, okay. So wait, hold on. Rome says he wants his cut. Um, um, okay, just one last question from Legend is the Elder. He says, has anyone ever entered the tribe that you didn't agree with the person?
Yes. And at the time within the dynamic, we both had a veto power of, hey, I don't like this person. So, and we had to actually have, it couldn't just be, oh, I don't like this person. You actually had to have reason. Um, I don't like how she approached me. And I literally was like, I don't like her energy. She's extremely negative. He's like, I still like her. And I was like, bet. However, I'm letting you know where I stand. He's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay. He tried dating her. He's like, God, she really is negative. I was like, huh. So we ended up, he ended up dismissing her. And I actually ended up, that was a relationship I had when I came back to North Carolina. And the woman that came after that one, me and her are actually best friends now. He's out of the picture.
And look at that. See, like again, and a couple people have mentioned like it's not just about the sexual aspect. Of course, it isn't. That's just what people's perception is,
Right.
especially men. All they think about is, well, I get to have sex with multiple women. Well,
Mm-hmm.
no, you don't get
No,
to do anything. Like you have to mutually agree with all your partners what the relationship is going to be, not
no,
what you want it to be.
right.
Otherwise, it's not okay. So, actually, that's a segue into the other question I wanted to ask you about before we wrap. Ethical non-monogamy. So, someone that was interested in me told me that they were in an ethically non-monogamous relationship. And so in my mind, or sort of the way it was explained to me, is like basically you can have sex with whoever you want to, but you just have to let your partner know. Now, I don't think you're getting ready to do it and be like, hey, so and so, just so you know, like I don't know. I don't know how that works, but that's also applicable to the other partner. Like the other partner can do
Mhm.
the same. But maybe if you can just talk about what that looks like, because also that could just be something a man says that might be in a relationship and he's actually just cheating outright. And, that's a fancy way to say, I'm cheating with my partner's consent. But
And
in reality, you're just cheating,
and
period.
now that those things have become more mainstream, you do have a lot of people claiming to be poly or claiming to be ethically non-monogamous, to justify stepping outside of the relationship, right? Which we do have to be mindful of, because once again, cheating can happen in poly, because at the foundation of it, cheating is violating a boundary that you have laid between the two people,
Mhm.
right? And so once the boundary is violated, that's cheating.
Right.
So of course it can happen in poly. It can happen in E&M. And a lot of people,
What is that again? Oh, ethical non-monogamy. Duh.
ethical non-monogamy. If you want to know more
The
about
thing
it,
I just asked you about?
if if you actually just want to read more about it for educational purposes, um, uh, the book is called Ethical Slut. It's a great book. Read about it. It gives you, it kind of helps you understand what ethical non-monogamy is. And typically, yes, people will go home, and no, you're not laying there beside the person like half naked going, hey, I need to call my partner. This is something that has already been discussed, right? Of, hey, let's talk about who you're actually engaging with before you engage with that person.
So, for instance, if the person is, on a business trip out of town and like he goes out to a function and he meets somebody and and this person is consenting to sleep with him, is
So
it just,
they may
it
have it
would,
so they don't have to talk about who they're sleeping with, or they don't have to communicate about who they're sleeping with. They just may lay down the ground rules of, you always use protection.
right.
It can be something as simple as that, that lays the foundation of essentially open consent. He can, if it's within the agreement with his partners. Exactly.
Just for the record, if anybody on here, get somebody else to
Get
do it.
somebody
Okay,
else
ever.
to do it. She
Get
said it's not
somebody
me.
else to do it.
And that's okay. We love that. We love when people choose how they want to live their life.
Yes,
I love
exactly. So it is
it.
everybody has free will and the opportunity to live their life as they choose. Communicate what your desires, your needs, be open, upfront, honest, and speak your truth up front.
That
Don't come
part.
up in here lying and try to sell somebody a dream and make up a story. Just be honest. I know y'all really struggle with that, but but
Just
give it a
be honest.
shot.
And what I
Exactly.
tell people is, if they're just honest, you never know who's sitting in front of you or beside you who is open to exactly what you're saying,
I'm
right?
I'm telling you, I respect it so much more. That doesn't mean I'm going to agree, but
I
I
don't have to
respect
agree
it.
with it.
I respect it like exponentially more when you just come straight up and say what it is that you want. Don't come here with no nonsense because you're insulting my intelligence. Because probably I already know what you want, and you think like you're slick. I cannot stand it. I can't stand it.
And
I'm
I
gonna
go
say it again. I can't stand it.
and I
So
always go back to the idea of informed consent. As a therapist, I cannot use a therapeutic modality with a client without their consent. So they have to consent to be on my service, right? Same concept. informed consent of what are you doing? Don't let me be out here thinking that we are monogamous or we're working towards monogamy or we're working to poly, whatever. I dated a woman that was poly. She told me after the fact I couldn't do it. Exactly.
Yeah.
She did not give you informed consent. She did not
No.
tell you up front. She just kind of slid it in there and expected you to roll with it because y'all had been together, had been dealing with each other for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, that's as is duplicitous,
Versus
dastardly,
da-
despicable, and
dastardly.
diabolical.
Mama said no slicksters. Exactly, mama. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
We are
exactly.
we
Mm.
are adults. Use your words. There are dictionaries with words to say exactly what you want to be said.
What? Man, I'm telling you, like I respect it so much more when you just say like this is, this is what I want. I'm not into this. And I understand that people's desires and interests and intentions can change over time. So, like sometimes men like to be ambiguous, right? So because they don't want to ruin their shot with you in the beginning. So they'll be like, well, I'm not sure what I'm looking for. Like I might be looking for this. Okay, well that's not intentional enough. I'm sorry. So, but I
Use
don't want you to
your
lie either. I don't want you to lie.
right. Honest, open, clear, concise communication is literally the foundation of it all.
Yes, yes. At the in any relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Jazzy Kitchen Wax. And let's see, Legend is the elder says the thing about poly too is the way I may treat you, but it might not be how the next one treats you. Yeah. I mean, yes, as we said in the beginning, you get different things from different people.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that's one of the benefits, right? That they're fulfilling different needs in you that one person can't necessarily do by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said,
So
um,
bid y'all a good night.
thank you once again so much, Nicosia. I really appreciate your participation, especially at the 11th hour. Um, I don't know what I would have been on here talking about. I would have been talking to myself. I like
Thank you
I
for
like
having me.
my professionals and my people with personal experience to share you know, their experiences rather than me guessing, what it must be like. So, and I think the people appreciate that as well. So,
Thank you for
uh,
having me.
for sure, I will definitely be in touch with you after, and then we can talk about the domestic violence topic as well. I think that would be very interesting. So folks look forward to my guest coming back at some point. And thank you and good night.
Good night, y'all.
And you can follow Nicosia at Southern Bell Therapy. That's her professional page, as well as Darling Nikki, Nikki, which you should see somewhere in here because I think she commented, or I did. Oh six, Darling Nikki 06. That's her personal page. So go follow her.
Look forward to seeing y'all on these streets. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Good night. Um, okay, y'all. So, with that said, I appreciate you joining and rejoining. I got to figure out why my IG keeps cutting off like that, but I, I will see y'all next Wednesday. And happy birthday to me. Oh my God. Okay, blocked. You are blocked, Ian. Good night. Good night, y'all.